Hey guys, Cinema Sickness here with this week's weekly review, where we take a look at all the titles I watched throughout the week, and I give you my quick thoughts on them. Now, before we get down to that, you're probably wondering where I am. Well, I'm actually in the new Cinematic Media Library, so there is a bit of an echo. I do apologize for that. The walls are still not put up yet. The only thing I have done is floors painted and 3 shelves up. Still have a long way to go, many more shelves to put up, still painting to do, electricity to put in. Lots and lots of work to go, but I figured since I do have 3 shelves up, why not do the video down here? So let's take a look at everything I watched. The first title I watched this week was Destination Truth Season 1. Now this was a show I used to love watching, used to come on right after Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi. Used to always watch Ghost Hunters and then immediately this would follow and I would certainly check it out. It sort of has that Ghost Hunters kind of feeling, although in this case you're not necessarily looking for ghosts, although sometimes they do. But looking for any kind of myth, whether it's Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster, although usually they're not looking for as well-known ones, they're usually looking for more like legends from other countries that you've probably never even heard of. And I find that very interesting. Do they ever find anything? No, they sometimes come across sort of some evidence, but nothing really. For the most part, these things probably don't exist, and they say that, they get to these other countries, and then usually they go, yeah, this is probably all just a legend, none of it's true, we don't really believe that any of this exists, we didn't find any information on it, nothing to prove that this myth or this legend or whatever actually exists. And I really do enjoy the show for that. They're not trying to ham it up too much, they're not constantly throwing, oh here's a ghost and here's a monster and here's this at you. No, they're pretty much debunking everything and saying, well, we didn't find any evidence, so who knows. Although the one thing I do have to say bad about this show is the fact that I think they don't really spend enough time doing research. I think they're just there for a night and they go, well, we didn't see anything, nothing here. I don't know, I really see the show, they couldn't go away for months on end to a place, but really if you want to truly investigate something, I think you need more than one night out in the field to see if something appears or something like that. That's what I think. So that was my one downfall with this. I don't think they spent enough time looking into the legends to see maybe if they are actually true, but it is what it is. Again, Sci-Fi's not going to send these people off for months at a time to do one episode. That's not going to happen. But regardless, it's Destination Truth. I love it. It's a great show, and I'd recommend checking it out. The second title I watched this week was Drive. And all you guys were telling me that I had to see this one ASAP because it's fantastic, and it definitely was. This was a great, great story. It definitely has some twisted moments. It's a lot of fun, full of energy, very raw, very in your face, and just badass to the bone. Just a great, great watch. Story took some twists and turns I really didn't see coming. The ending was just great, so I would definitely recommend this movie. It was a movie that I thought was just going to be about a heist driver, the getaway driver. I just thought, oh, it's going to be a movie just all about that. That's it, nothing more. And it is so much more than that. It's that and then above and beyond. Just this great, great story about just this one guy right here who just is going through some crazy shit. So is this one I'd recommend? Definitely. I'm sure by now you've heard great things about it. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I don't want to spoil it. It's just such a fantastic movie. Again, everything great you've heard about it is 100% true. Definitely check out Drive. The third title I watched this week was Bernie. I had no idea what this movie was going into it. In fact, the wife knew more about this when she sat down to watch it with me. I started looking, I go, oh, there's some blood on the front here. There was some blood on the opening credits. I go, what is this movie about? And she's like, he killed somebody. I did not know that, did not see that coming. Did not think this was kind of a dark comedy, and it is. It's apparently based on a true life story too. How much is true? Who knows? It's Hollywood. They always amp it up a bit and throw some things in that probably never happened. But it is based off a true story about this guy who kind of made this town fall in love with him. He's a super, super nice guy, just really giving and really caring. The town loves him. They basically worship this guy because he's just so incredibly nice, always helping out, always doing the right thing, just a model citizen all around. Well, he starts this relationship with this kind of the mean bitch of the town, the woman that the entire town hates. Starts a relationship with her, and she becomes overbearing and just drives him to the point of basically insanity. And he shoots her. And now he's on trial. He's gonna go to jail because he's trying to. He actually puts her in a freezer, which is pretty fucked up but great. And he hides her body for a little bit, but of course, he gets found out. But the great thing about it is because this town loves him so much and kind of hate her so much, they all rally around Bernie, and they basically don't want Bernie to get in trouble. And in fact, they all say, if we're on the jury, we're not convicting him. We would never convict Bernie, even though, yes, he did murder her. Oh well, things happen. We're not going to convict him. So of course, because everybody says that, they take the trial and take it far enough away from the town that he does actually end up getting convicted. And I believe he gets, I think it's life, if I'm not mistaken. He does get life for his murder. But just a great movie about a super, super nice guy who does something pretty bad. Like I said, it's definitely a dark comedy. Jack Black is fantastic in this. By far, one of the best performances I've seen by Jack Black. It's, I say dark comedy, but it's not super, super funny. It's got some funny moments in it, but he plays a more serious character. It's more of a dramatic role, just with some little funny moments here and there, and definitely a lot of darkness. So Bernie is definitely a movie I'd recommend checking it out. It was a lot of fun and a great story. The next 3 titles I checked out, yes, I'm going to talk about all 3 of these together, and that was CKY, CKY2, and CKY3. Now you guys know I just recently watched CKY4, and I gave my thoughts on it. Basically said, when it comes to CKY, I find some parts funny, but the parts where they really fuck with people and they're kind of just acting like assholes, that's the part that it kind of bothers me. But after watching these 2, I would say CKY4, it has a lot more of them being assholes. Whereas in CKY, no, it's a lot more kind of like Jackass. In fact, a lot of the skits in this you have seen in Jackass. If you watch the TV series, you have seen a lot of the skits. They did take a lot of them from CKY and kind of use them as bumpers in between Jackass skits. So there's not a lot of, some screwing with people, but not to the point of just being a complete asshole. So I like CKY a lot better than CKY4. And CKY 2 and 3, it's I'd say more like CKY, where they're not being complete assholes all the time, but there are definitely some scenes of them being assholes. It happens. But, so yeah, when it comes down to CKY, it's a double-edged sword for me. I have mixed feelings. I enjoy some of the skits, and other ones I just absolutely hate. I can't stand when somebody's being an asshole. When you want to, be funny, when you want to, play jokes on each other, you got your little crew, you're fucking with each other, yeah, that's funny. If you kind of want to mess with somebody a little bit, but not be a complete dick about it, or, apologize, or you're not doing something that overly makes you look like an asshole, not such a big deal. But when you do something like kicking footballs into people's cars, that was pretty fucked up. I mean, why would you do that? That's not funny. That's being an asshole. If somebody kicked a football into my car on purpose, I'd run them over, because that's just a dickhead move. So it's things like that kind of gets my nerves. But there is one part of this where they actually do like a poop dollar, where I guess they shit on a dollar, put it on the ground, somebody finds it, they pick it up, and it's a pretty funny scene. The guy picks it up, and he's like, yeah, a dollar, and he realizes he got shit on his hands, he smells it, starts puking and whatnot. And then he's cursing them out because they have to get a release form signed so he can be in the video. Which made me go, okay. So anytime you basically don't see somebody's burnt out face, they got a release form. They actually pay the guy $100 so he signs release form. So, even they're being assholes, I guess at least they're paying these people. And even though the people are pissed off, they are signing a release form, so they can't be too pissed. But regardless, CKY, if you like Jackass, check it out. It's not quite Jackass. I don't think it's as good as Jackass. I like Jackass more, because I like seeing kind of them screw around with each other as opposed to with other people. But all in all, CKY, they're good videos. The 6th title I watched this week was, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Bunraku? I don't know how you pronounce this, but it was a really, really good movie. If for nothing less than just the style of the film, all the great cinematography. This whole movie's done on huge sets, and with these great CGI, and I say CGI, but I mean like CGI kind of like backgrounds and clips between one set to another. They'll go like through like a pathway or something, and that'll be CGI, but it's beautifully done. Lots of like cutouts and stuff. This movie is just absolutely 100% beautiful in the design. I mean, I just couldn't get enough. I'm supposed to be watching these characters, but I'm looking around at all the different sets and these great huge buildings they constructed, and all just how much time and effort must have gone into constructing these sets. It is really, really fascinating to check out. And the story is just really good as well, about this clan and these 2 guys going after them, and just the characters are great. Woody Harrelson's awesome in it. Love seeing him as a bartender too, especially since I am currently watching Cheers, and that was kind of amusing. But a really, really good movie with a fantastic story, some great martial arts as well. But if for nothing less, you should definitely check this one out for the great sets and cinematography alone. So great story, beautiful sets, definitely see this. And speaking of Cheers, the seventh title I watched this week was Cheers Season 10. Unfortunately, I see why this is the second to last season of Cheers. Not that I have anything wrong with it. It is good. I do enjoy it. It's a fantastic sitcom. However, that's kind of my problem, is the fact that it's getting very sitcom-y. Pretty much after Shelley Long left, the stories get really sitcom-y, where they kind of focus around a story, but it seems like they were making it more a sitcom where every episode was kind of something different. Yeah, they might have some things tie into each other from episode to episode, but for the most part, it just seemed like your average sitcom, whereas when Shelley Long was still in the series, you got really involved in the characters and the stories, and you were really excited to see what happened next season. But after, she like the fourth or fifth season, it just kind of started to go downhill a bit. But again, not downhill in the fact that it's a bad show. It hasn't gotten bad. It's just that it's gotten very sitcom-y, which, I love sitcoms. It's just when you're watching, 4 or 5 seasons of something a bit more than just your average sitcom, you kind of want it to stay that way. You don't want it to just go into something you've kind of seen before. But regardless, Cheers Season 10, it's good. No, there's no babies in this season. Rebecca and Sam, they're going to have a kid. That's kind of the cliffhanger of the last season. And then this season you think, oh, maybe they're having one. They end up not. And that's another problem. It's not like you really care when you find out they're not going to have a kid. It's not big and epic. You're like, okay, they decided not to have a kid. All right, next episode. So Season 10, it's great. It's Cheers. I love Cheers. If you love sitcoms, this is one to see. But like I said, pretty much after Shelley Long left, the show just wasn't quite as good. The 8th title I watched this week was Vibes, which I do have in this 4-film collection set. Vibes was a very interesting movie. It stars with Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi Lauper. Although I would have to say the movie wasn't anything special, it was rather mediocre, but they have these like psychic powers. Cyndi Lauper can see this girl who helps her out, just as kind of, I guess, spirit of a girl who she can see. Jeff Goldblum can touch things and see where these objects have been. They're using these powers. Basically, these people are using their powers to find this ancient lost city that has this, they say it's this ancient city of gold, but then they find out it's this actual like superpower kind of crystal thing they're looking for. And it's just all right. It's all about these people trying to use these two characters to find this lost city and just the wackiness that ensues. That's it. There's really not much more I can say about it. It's fun. If you just want to see just a fun 80s film starring Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum, I mean, that there alone should sell you. It certainly sold me. I would definitely recommend, check it out. It's fun 80s cheese, but all in all, it is just mediocre. The 9th title I watched this week was Hedwig and the Angry Inch, or should I say Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Now, this is a movie I have heard about, and I had only really heard about it from one person. I am a photographer, although I haven't really been doing that much of that lately. I've been pretty much focusing on cinema sickness. But I'm a photographer, it's what I went to school for, and about a year or so ago, I actually had a photo shoot that we focused all the hair and makeup around Hedwig here. She was a huge fan of the movie. I had seen the art before. I knew what she was looking for. We even went on to our phones and looked up images, and I had our makeup artist do this makeup and do this hair. She had bright blonde hair. We just went crazy. It was a really good photo shoot. The makeup and hair looked amazing. And she was ranting and raving about how fantastic of a film this was. And like I said, I had never seen it, but I've always wanted to. So as soon as I grabbed this one on DVD, I definitely had to check it out. And it was superb. It's just this crazy, twisted story about this German transvestite and just the craziness she goes through. It's just this insane story, but also with some fantastic music. I have to get the soundtrack to this ASAP because the music alone was great. I actually sat through all the credits. There's nothing that happens during the credits. It's just black with text going out like normal. But I sat through them all just to hear the music playing again. There's kind of like a montage of all the songs playing through the credits. I wanted to listen to it all because it just sounded fantastic. I loved when they went to a song because they would go into full songs in this movie and just perfect soundtrack. I could not recommend this movie for the soundtrack enough. It's just brilliant. But like I said, the story is also really, really great. Just a fun story about a German transvestite. Just think of all the craziness that's going to happen. Everything from her being in Berlin and having to escape, before the wall came down, she has to escape, and how she got from there to America, all the crazy stuff that happens. And again, remember, she's a transvestite the entire time. Just an insane story. So, Hedwig and the Angry Itch, yeah, see this. The 10th title I watched this week was Continental Divide. Now, this is a John Belushi movie that I've heard wasn't all that great. I did hear it was kind of mediocre, and I'd have to say yes. Really wasn't very funny. There is one line here, if you've seen this, it's a line about goulash. That's a pretty damn funny line. Had me laughing out loud, but that's really the only time that I was cracking up laughing. The rest of the time, I was just thinking, wow, this is pretty mediocre. It's all about John Belushi being a newspaper writer, but he's always writing about corruption and whatnot, and people are after him because of that. And he gets beat up, and then they want him to go away and do this this article on this woman who is out. Basically, she's very much into eagle conservation. She's out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the woods on a big mountain, watching eagles, and he doesn't want to go, but he ends up going, and they end up falling in love, and blah, blah, blah. It's just a love story. That's what happens. It's them falling in love, them thinking they can't be together, and then at the end, sure enough, they realize we should be together because we love each other, and again, yada, yada, yada. So, yes, mediocre. If you're a John Belushi fan, this is not necessarily one you're going to love. Would I recommend checking it out? I'd say only if you're interested. If you're interested in seeing it, sure, go ahead. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, but all in all, it is just mediocre. If you have no interest in seeing this, then you don't need to see it. And the final and 11th title I watched this week was Oldboy. Watch my UMT copy here. Now, this was a great film, also very twisted. Never thought I could enjoy a movie that features so much incest as much as I did with this one. A lot of stuff you kind of don't see coming. I mean, towards the end, maybe you kind of figure out what's going to happen, but the twist at the end, my mouth just dropped. I was like, no, because I love it. It's not like one of those twist endings where they just drop it on you and you're like, whoa, wow, that was crazy. They kind of start to lead you into it and you're like, no, that's not what happened here. And then when they do drop it, you're like, oh shit, I can't believe that just happened. I recommend this movie for the ending alone. Just the twist ending on this is so twisted. I mean, I love it. It's a twisted twist ending. It's just absolutely fantastic. Again, I kind of don't want to go into the story. I guess I'll describe it a little bit. It's all about a guy who gets abducted, locked up for 15 years. He gets released, doesn't know why, doesn't know what's going on. He's going to go after the people who locked him up now. But the whole time he's trying to find out why exactly he was locked up. Why did these people capture him and put them in this room for 15 years. What's up with that? He not only wants to get his revenge, but he also wants to find out why this even happened to him. And that's where the story gets pretty fucked up. So, Oldboy, definitely a movie I'd recommend checking out. Just a fantastic twist ending. They are remaking this. Apparently Spike Lee has done it. I think it comes out this October, actually, which, I'm kind of interested to see how much they've changed around, because I thought this movie was just perfect the way it was. I hope they don't change too much with the American remake. Hope it stays true to the original, because, again, this was just fantastic, and I would highly, highly recommend checking it out. So there you go, guys. That's everything I watched this week. Definitely watched some fantastic titles. I mean, Hedwig, Oldboy, Bernie, Drive. I mean, I watched a lot of really good titles this week, and I pretty much recommend them all. Yeah, some are better than others, but definitely all worth checking out to at least some extent. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. See ya.